In today's episode of Build Your Tribe, I'm going to share with you the 10 biggest mistakes that I've made in the last 30 years as an entrepreneur. The mistakes you need to avoid. And these are important ones, so I hope you have a pen and a piece of paper, and I hope you take this stuff seriously because I can help you avoid a lot of heartache and a lot of lost sales, lost revenue, and get to where it is you want to go a lot faster. The first mistake that I think I made was it took me too long to really accept and understand the idea that I needed to hire people and that would save me money and that it would save me time. I just believed, okay, I get it. I'm definitely going to hire people when I can afford to. So if you've ever said that to yourself, like, oh, I'd love to hire people, I just can't afford to right now. It's an act of faith. It's faith in other people. It's faith in knowing that like there's only you can be you and you can't outsource that. So know what it is that you need to outsource first and outsource sooner than you think it makes sense to. Don't wait until you have a surplus of cash before you start to hire. The faster you hire, the quicker you're going to be able to hire your next person. The number 2 mistake I want you to avoid making is failing to niche down even further. Anytime we've had a business that struggled, anytime I found myself like looking at what other people were doing, like, and saying to myself, I don't understand. How come they're so successful and we're struggling? Our thing is better. What we offer is better. It was often because I was trying to appeal to too broad of an audience. That has certainly been kind of a reoccurring theme in all of the businesses that we've built, my husband and I, and now Brock and I have built, is realizing that the more we niche down, even though that's really hard to do, and you feel like if you niche down even further, you're going to disqualify part of your audience or you're going to alienate part of your audience. It's not true. Niche down to the point that it's almost uncomfortable. Number 3 is to know the difference between quitting and stepping into something else. I think as entrepreneurs, we've been conditioned to believe like, just never quit. Believe in your dreams. Just keep going. Persevere. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. People are going to think you're crazy and then you're going to have this breakthrough. But there's also a point at which you just have to realize like, okay, I've got to look at the handwriting on the wall. I've got to look at my numbers. I've got to look at and forecast what's happening in this industry. Where is this industry going? Where is social media going? Where are the trends going? And there's a point at which you have to realize you're making a foolish mistake by continuing on that same path. And it's not quitting if you're smart enough to realize like, okay, I need to step into a different direction. Now, I know this is kind of crazy because there isn't any scientific way to know when it's time to choose different directions. Because conversely, I know people who have jumped ship too soon. Like they picked a niche. This is a perfect example. They picked a niche. And then when business starts to like not go that great, they're like, oh, they start to get nervous and they broaden their focus. And that's never a good idea either. So you've got to understand that how important it is to have all the information. Like collect all the information, collect all the data, collect all the research, do the market analysis, talk to wise advisors who will shoot straight with you and say like, people who are smarter than you, who've done it before you, who are not afraid to sugarcoat it and to shoot straight with you and get their honest feedback. And then don't feel like you're quitting by choosing a different direction. Sometimes it's the wisest decision you can make. An example of that would be, and sometimes this is really hard. So push journals. I've got one right here. So we launched and this is a company that we launched in 2017, I believe, for push journals. And for the last 3 years, I've been watching our sales decline. I know how much time I spend designing those covers, working on the marketing, etc. And it's our smallest business center, and it continues to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And, just out of stubbornness, I'm like, it's my baby. Like I want to fight for it. Like it works for me, so it should work for everybody else. Everyone who has ADHD needs one of these planners. But if I'm spending that much time on something that's making us our smallest amount of money, does that really make sense? Does it make me a quitter if I realize like, okay, I need to retire this business or sell this business because my efforts are better spent on things that are more profitable than us or profitable for us, that's a wise decision. That doesn't make me a quitter. It makes me someone who wants to, work smarter, not harder. Number 4 is believing that there are no shortcuts. There are shortcuts. There actually are shortcuts, but they're not what you think they are. The shortcuts are investing in people who've done it. Anytime I have struggled to figure something out and tried to figure it out myself, that's the slowest way and the dumbest way possible. The things that have accelerated my career, that have accelerated our businesses the most is when I have invested in coaches and programs. And I know sometimes coaches and online courses get a bad rap, but hello, I wouldn't even be here today if it weren't for coaches and online courses and seminars I've done. Facts. Now, I know they don't work for all people because not everyone implements, but if you're someone who implements, it's a shortcut for you. It literally is the way that I became a New York Times bestseller. I didn't figure that out myself. I paid for a course. I paid for a coach. On my own YouTube channel, The Chalene Show, so right now this is on Build Your Tribe, but for when I wanted to grow my YouTube channel, I hired a coach. And I did Video Ranking Academy. I did those 2 things. And in 1 year's time, we went from, I think we were at 110,000 subscribers, and now we're at over 300,000 in just 1 year. It took me over, I think 14 years to get to 100,000 subscribers. And then in less than a year, I doubled that number. So the shortcut was investing in a coach and investing in a program. I know that sometimes we think we can figure these things out ourselves, but that's the long way. So if you want the shortcut, invest in someone who's already done it. The number 5 mistake that I've made and I want you to avoid making is assuming that no one knows more than you on anything. And I know you're thinking well, of course I know that people know more than me, but I bet there's some particular topic that you, just like me, believe there's no one who knows as much as me about XYZ. For me, I always believe that to be true about marketing or even writing emails. Writing email copy, I just believed nobody can write email copy the way I write email copy until we hired someone who writes email copy a lot better than I write email copy. Just never assume that you're the smartest or you're the best, even if it's that thing that you think that there is no one. There is. There's somebody who's better than you, and that's how we keep up-leveling our business and down-regulating the amount of work that we ourselves are having to do, right? Because again, you don't want to work more. You want to work smarter, right? You want to work less and achieve more. All right, I'm going to interrupt myself to tell you that it really does help Brock and I out so much if you double check and make sure you're subscribed. It also gives you automatic good parking lot karma. That means the next time you pull up into a busy shopping center and you're I'm in such a rush, I need to find a good parking, you're going to find a good parking space. It's guaranteed when you subscribe to this channel. All right, back to the episode. Number 6 is focus more on your subscriber count than your follower count. Follower counts they're great, but it's your follower count. All that is a way to you should look at your follower count on whether it's, whatever social media platform. Look at that as a means by which to figure out what people want to go deep with you. And those are the people you want to get on your email list. Your email list is more than just a list. This is community. This is where we connect. This is where we go deeper. This is where we serve. This is where we can have a longer lasting relationship with people than the 15-second video that they've just swiped away from. I've said this a million times, but I think the biggest mistake most new entrepreneurs make, or even veteran entrepreneurs make, is that they're always thinking about social media. And what you should be thinking about with social media is okay, what can I post today that's going to put people on my email list? What can I give people so that they want to give me their email address? Because if you want your business to grow, you need your email list to grow. Now, if you're trying to figure out what email list to use, we use Keep, and the Build Your Tribe podcast is sponsored by Keep. Keep isn't for everybody. It's not for those of you who aren't yet ready to outsource someone to help you build and segment your list. But when you have a strong email list, like with some of the tools and some of the settings and some of the templates that we use on Keep, it's like a game changer. It's an incredible way to not just serve our audience, but also to segment our audience. So I'm not sending the wrong email to the wrong customer. So if you want to learn more about Keep, there will be a link in our show notes. But I'm just a big fan. Again, it is not for the solopreneur who is stuck in the mindset that like you need to figure everything out yourself. If you think that you have to do that yourself, then Keep isn't for you. But if you're someone who's like ready to go to the next level, that's the way to go. And I think that just ties in with number 6. It's like you've got to think about your email list before you think your email list is so much more important than your social. Number 7 is to spend whatever time you need and hire slow. Hire slow. We recently went through a job application process for one of our businesses, Phase It Up, which is it's like a fitness and diet program specifically geared towards women who are perimenopausal and menopausal. And we went through like a whole batch of interviews and tons and tons and tons of applicants. We boiled it down to the top 2. I did the interviews and I'm like, it's neither of these people. It's neither of these people. Let's go back to the drawing board. Now, one was better than the other, but I didn't want to settle. So don't settle until you're like, this person is a gem. Hire slow. It's the most important thing you can do in your business is hire people who are really smart and they're really qualified for the work. So they've got the skill set first and culture second. Sometimes in the past, I think probably the biggest mistake that I made is I hired for culture first. I'm like, oh, I really like this person and we'll teach them how to do this stuff. Yeah, that didn't work out so well. The number 8 mistake that I want you to avoid making is to hire people who just get the job done versus hiring people who are like, no matter what obstacle I face, I will find a way. That's the person you want to hire. Don't hire people who are like you need a couple of soldiers, but you want people who are problem solvers. I think the success of all of our businesses is at the moment because we've learned to hire people who don't just look at their own silo of work. They look at the business in its entirety and aren't afraid to offer suggestions, aren't afraid to find solutions. And most importantly, that they are excited about finding a way. The absolute worst thing I can hear from someone is, yeah, we actually can't do that. There's actually no way to do that, or that didn't work out well, or like anyone who's like they run into an obstacle and then they're done. That person doesn't have any room on my team. I want someone who's like, there's got to be a way. Let's keep researching. Let's keep looking. There's got to be a way to make this easier. There's got to be a way to make this better. There's got to be a way to make this more enticing. Like that person who's like, yeah, we've run into an obstacle, but I will find a way. That resourceful person, that person who's like incredibly curious and creative and like they want to go on a rabbit hole to figure things out. People who like to figure things out, those are the best. You need so many of those people on your team. Number 9 is to remember that the one thing you can almost never get back is trust. So I don't care what the paycheck is in front of me. I don't care what the opportunity is. If it doesn't feel quite right, if it doesn't align with your ethics, if it doesn't allow you to lay your head down at night and feel like really, really solid about what you've done, then it's the wrong decision. Trust is the most important thing that you can maintain with your customers and your followers. And it's the reason why, like when I have a sponsorship or a new partner, I tell them, I have to be all the way honest. So if there's something that I find out about your product, or if there's a competitor who they have something that I want to tell my audience about, I need to be completely honest. And if a sponsor that we're working with doesn't get that, well, then they're not going to work with me. Like I really think there's nothing more rare today than someone who's truly, truly honest and isn't just after the buck. And I think it stands out. I think it's unique today. I think there's so many people who now have like a little bit of clout, or they have some following, and they realize that they can make a few bucks, and then they're just obsessed with everything. And you start to lose a sense of what's real and what they really think. And that one simple way to stand out as an entrepreneur, as someone who's maybe an influencer, is to know that your word, your reputation is everything. So never lose the trust of your audience. And the number 10 piece of advice that I would give to you, because I think one of the reasons why we become entrepreneurs is because we're just really freaking curious and creative, right? Like, I bet you have like so many different ideas and so many things that get you excited. And if that's true, and I don't know if this is like great advice, but it's just what I've done. And it's worked out well for me. So I don't know if this is good advice for you, but it's what I've done. And that is, I've followed my passion. Like when I lose passion for something where I'm like, I can't promote that, I'm not excited about that, then I'm done. And I think, when people say like, what are you going to do 5 years from now? I'm like, I don't know. And I don't worry about it, because it's just going to land in my lap. Like God's going to put something in front of me that I'm so excited about, that something I've been through, that like now I know I can help other people with. Like at the moment, the one business that I'm the most excited about, it's not Marketing Impact Academy. I know I'm supposed to say that I am, or it's not even Insta Club Hub. The thing that I'm like the most excited, most passionate about right now, two things. One is my Patreon. Freaking love it. I love you. When I say I love it, I mean like I freaking love my Patreon. So I really want to grow my Patreon. That's a private podcast. You can check it out at patreon.com/The Chalene Show. And the other thing I'm like over the moon, like ridiculously obsessed with right now, is helping perimenopausal women who haven't gone through menopause yet. Like I gotta get to that 36-year-old woman. I gotta get to that 41-year-old woman who's like, la 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 la, I don't want to hear about menopause. I'm too young to hear about that. I need to get in front of her and say like, girlfriend, if you can do these things right now, you're going to have such an easier time when you get to menopause. Like, and your doctors aren't giving you the right information, and you need to know about hormone replacement therapies. You need to know about the latest science regarding it. You need to know how you need to change your diet and your exercise, all these things. Like right now, girlfriend, like, can you tell how excited I am about that? Yeah. And so for me, it's not about like what's going to make me the most money. It's what's going to bring me the most fire, like what puts fire in my belly. And usually the money follows. It just does. So I guess my 10th and final suggestion to you is let your passion, let the thing that you're like so freaking excited about, let that direct you. But first we have to make sure that like the thing that you've started, like you've got that to a place where you can set it and forget it. Like the only reason why I've been able to dive in to phase it up, and the only reason why I've been able to like kind of step back a little bit from Insta Club Hub or the Marketing Impact Academy, is because I built those to a place where we've got the right people in place, we've got the right systems that are set up, and that gives me a little bit of leeway, a little bit of freedom to be able to explore something I'm super passionate about, which is perimenopause and menopause. Anyways, we'll put links to that stuff in our show notes. I hope that was helpful for you. It is my goal to be brief, to be bright, to make it fun, and then be done. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done. I love you. See you soon.